All right, so I am here to talk about issue number two, which is going to be the finances of Google. And so the finances is going to encompass everything from the management of money. It's going to affect the company from top to bottom. Stocks can be affected, which will affect the bottom line of the company going forward and in the present. And that's what the board of directors is really looking at most of the time is the stocks. So the biggest issue as far as that Google has right now um, is going to be that they're being sued currently by the European Union, and they're being sued for promoting their own services over other companies in search results. So like I said, the Google searchers are prioritizing Google services over competitors, creating an unfair advantage in the eyes of the European Union. It is worth noting that the European Union is suing them for 3 billion euros, which is not chump change, especially to a company like Google. Google's response, so that they haven't settled the lawsuit yet. They have made an effort to settle the lawsuit. From what I've read, 3 times they've tried to settle, but they weren't able to reach a settlement, and so they're no longer trying to settle with them. They are currently banned from manipulating the searches in Europe, but not across the rest of the world. And one of the recommendations that I would have for Google in regards to that, so they can still offer their services at the top of the searches or show them at the top of the searches, but then they can have the competitors underneath theirs. They don't have to block out the other competitors completely from their searches, which is what the European Union would rather them do. And they really only have to use this format in Europe, since that's the only area of the world that's currently suing them for this. And so they'll still be able to do their search results as they currently do them across the rest of the world. So they shouldn't have a problem generating profits off of that. Google still has the vast majority of the market share for web searches, so they should be good in that regard. The next issue that I have is going to be accounting. And the accounting department is really going to be focused on balancing the accounts and accepting and sending the appropriate payments for invoices and services rendered and things like that. And so one of the newer ways that companies are being targeted, and wealthy individuals and companies, it's going to be the cyber criminals that are going to be doing phishing scams. So they're sending out emails that look like legitimate emails that carry a virus or a backdoor way for this cyber criminal to get into their system, to steal information, things of that nature. And so with Google right now, they were a part of a phishing scam with Facebook that was $100 million loss, which that would also affect their finances. They were able to recoup the majority of that money, but they were still a part of that scam. And so an individual posed as a normal company that Google and Facebook had done business with in the past and still continue to do business with, but they posed as that company and sent fake invoices, and Google paid them for over 2 years. And it's an issue because Google needs to be able to protect not only its own assets, it needs to protect its customer information and data. Failure could result in monetary losses, as we saw here was $100 million that they sent out in payment combined with Facebook. But they're not the only ones that are affected by this. Target was a recent one where their data was stolen. Blue Cross Blue Shield was another company that has been targeted by phishing scams. So it's not something that is unique just to Google. This is something that's going on, and it's going to be an ongoing issue going forward for probably a while. And so Google's response to this mistake was, once they realized it, they stopped sending the payments, obviously. But like I said, it took them 2 years before they stopped sending the payments. And then they also alerted authorities about what was going on, at which point they were able to recoup some of the money. but it still took 2 years for them to come to that realization that they were sending money for invoices that they never did any work for. So my recommendation for them would be more checks and balances in the accounting department. There's no way that it should have taken 2 years for them to realize that they were paying for invoices that they didn't have purchase orders for or anything like that. They should find a way to have a cross-reference for every invoice received to a purchase order before sending out any payments. And Google is a big technology company. There's no doubt in my mind that they would be able to come up with something like that happens in seconds. So it wouldn't take days for them to get a purchase order linked to an invoice. That should be something that happens almost instantaneously. And so that's all I have. Those were my two issues that we had. So the next person that's coming up is going to be Lanka. Thank you.